I'd like to welcome everyone to the Danieltown Council meeting Monday, October 1st. I'd like to call this meeting to order. As usual, we have our public comment concerning any issues that are not on the agenda. If there's anybody out there that, not a whole lot of people out there, so we're good.
I've seen all them cars, I thought we'd be full.
All scared off.
They're on their song.
The Chair will entertain a motion to go out of regular session into public hearing for the Nader Enterprise public hearing.
I'd like to make a motion to go out of regular meeting and go into public hearing for Nader Enterprises.
We have a first, we have a second.
Second.
We have a second, any good discussion amongst the council?
Yes. I was reading in the book last night, and it's kind of ambiguous about the applicant's notice. 10-9A 202. The applicant's notice about sending a notice to the applicant each time we meet on an application. So at this time, we'd like to know if you want us to work on this, or do you want to waive the requirements of that notice?
I believe we're supposed to notice each time we continue to notice, not just continue it, but actually notice the continuation.
Well, yeah, after the last meeting, I went back and looked at it, and it's my opinion that you can't continue public hearings. You have to act within 30 days. And so I was going to lodge that as, a complaint from both Nate and for Mary Jo tonight, that you've got to act within 30 days. There's a reason why they tell you to do that. So I'm not sure what you're asking me to waive tonight. My expectation is you're going to act on both of these tonight, and that you're required by law to do so.
If you do the waiver of notice requirements, we're planning on moving on these tonight.
On both of them, then,
Yes.
then I would waive on those if that's what the expectation is.
Perfect, thank you.
So we have a first, we have a second, we have any discussion, we did have some discussion, any further discussion? If none, all in favor? Aye. We are now in public hearing for the Nader Enterprises. As usual, turn any time over if you want to do any last speaking or...
No, last time I was here, I made the presentation, I'll kind of know where we are. We submitted, so I don't think there's anything else that we need to go over tonight as far as from my client's perspective. Everything that I think that we need to submit has been submitted, and we've already argued this before. So I think that based on that, unless there's any questions, we should be where we need to be.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the public? If not, turn the time over to council. Questions amongst the council with regards to this public hearing?
I think we'll have our answers back pretty quick. I have two different legal opinions that differ, so that's weird, huh? I was gonna ask you tonight so I could have three.
Thank you.
So, I think that it'll be hammered out. I've been, like I say, going through David Church's book regarding these hearings and what we're doing, and that's where that notice came in, and I thought, well, we better just clear that up before we move forward, so.
Okay. Anything else? If not, the chair will entertain a motion to end the public hearing for the Nader Enterprise.
I do have one more thing, Chip, just before we close out of that.
Okay.
The planning commission had sent over a recommendation. I'll just read it. We had the planning meeting and this was brought up. And please be advised, the Daniel Planning Commission recommends the following. Commissioner Waite motion that the Planning Commission recommends the town council should work with property owners who wish to disconnect and make every effort to keep those properties a part of the town. So that was, they just sent that in. They wanted the town council to know that they think that we should be working with these folks instead of getting a disconnect. So they sent that over so that council knows that the planning commission. I know it doesn't go to the planning commission. This doesn't go there, but they weighed in on it. Fair enough.
Noted.
Okay.
John, where we were just at, we had a first and a second, and we were discussion with regards to the public hearing on the Nader Enterprises. Okay. So right now, is there any last discussion on it? If not, the chair will entertain that vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll abstain from right now, just because I wasn't in on the discussion.
Okay, so the public hearing ends.
Public hearing ends on that. Chair will entertain a motion to go out of that public hearing and into the next public hearing for Mary Jo Coleman.
So moved.
We have a first,
Second.
we have a second. Any questions, comments? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
We are now in public hearing for the Mary Jo Coleman public hearing, and we have left the Nader Enterprises public hearing. Once again, Corbin, any questions? Or anything?
No, I mean, we've gone through this, just kind of the same thing, that for both of them, they'd asked me to make the argument that these need to be acted on in 30 days, so I just would reiterate that as part of the record.
Public, any public comment on this particular item? And any council members, any discussion with regards to the Mary Jo Coleman property with their disconnect?
It's the same one the planning commission sent, for both of those.
None discussion, the chair will entertain.
Well, I might just add the comment for the record that in these disconnects, it doesn't really matter if they're in the county or Heber or Daniel, if there is noise, dust, and, what's the other one?
Smells and
Vibration.
Odors, if there's those things that are affecting the public, those issues need to be addressed no matter which entity they happen to be with. So I guess I'd just make that comment.
Okay, noted. And then, just so you know the time frame that you missed, so this, we're gonna be closing these two tonight, and then we have that decision to make within the 45 days for us to make that. We wanna, if there's any other questions here, we'll present that tonight. If not, we'll make that decision next month, and then be able to, there are findings out then of why we made that decision, so. Okay, so where do we get on the Cohen? So we just had the vote.
Close.
Yep.
Vote to close
Chair will
it.
entertain a motion to close the public hearing for Mary Jo Coleman.
So moved.
First? Second, any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing closed. Chair will entertain a motion to open back up into regular session.
So moved.
For first,
I second it.
second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So we're back into regular session.
Can I just ask Corbin a question?
Yes, sir.
Do you happen to know the code that you were referring to, the 30-day thing? I'm
Um,
reading a 45 on where I
So, yeah, so I can find it for you, but basically what it says is you have to have a public hearing within 30 days, and then once you have a public hearing, you've got 45 days to act.
Okay.
And so my interpretation of that is 45 days from the first public hearing that you held. And so I just want assurance that we're gonna get a decision here, that we're not gonna keep kicking this down the road. That's what both of my clients are asking for, and you're basically saying you're gonna make a decision in at your next hearing, is that, or your next?
That was the plan. So we closed the public hearing, so the next step is
So
a
now our
decision.
45 days has started, in our opinion. That's where our 45 days come.
Okay, they're not gonna be thrilled with that, but, you know, that's what your position is, I'll talk to them about that. But I can tell them basically by next meeting, you're gonna make a decision, or what?
I would tell them the public hearing's closed, and we need to make a decision within 45 days.
Okay, so you're.
And our meeting's within that 45 days, so I think it would be within the meeting, I would imagine, but, you know, sometimes people get sick, or holidays happen, or people aren't here, and we have to reschedule. I hate to make a promise and not be able to keep it, so right now, we've got 45 days.
I will inform them of that. So
Okay,
no
you
other
don't-
action's gonna be made on either one of those items tonight then? Okay.
And that number is 10501. Thank you.
501.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't have to find it for
Oh,
I
cool.
got it.
Cool. Okay, cool, thanks, guys.
Moving on to business licenses, Nader Enterprises renewal, and then Happy Paws, I guess that's a new one.
And we've got Grady Enterprises too.
Who else?
Grady Enterprises.
That's a tough one now.
Craig, I've heard that name somewhere.
Okay,
Any,
I think the Nader Enterprises, we've had some complaints that there's a retail being run out of there. I think we need to schedule a hearing. Also, with his testimony in these last meetings, he said he does not live on site, and that was a condition of his license. So I think that we need to hold that license and schedule a hearing for him to come and answer what is going on over there.
great,
It's outside of the scope of what a home-based business license was that he signed up for.
I understand it that way as well.
When I went by there the other day, he now has new signs up that says this, you cannot buy retail.
Tell it one more time, Shelley, I can hear.
When I went by the other day, he has now new signs up that says that you cannot buy from there, you can call this number. So he's just put those up just recently.
He's had
His first
some-
one said that.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
did
a
it?
point.
Yeah,
Right next
well, he
to
now
it.
has a couple extra that are spread out.
It's the soccer sub.
Okay, the first one was Natalia Fisher, and this would be dog walking and pet care. Not here? Here? Right? Excellent. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about it?
Yeah, of course.
You can come up if you don't feel comfortable. You can
Oh,
sit
sure,
there.
what
We'd
do
love
you
to take your name for the record, and we'd love to hear about your business. Yeah, on the big fancy thing there.
All right. My name is Natalia Fisher, and I am proposing to run my business, Happy Paws, out of my home. It would strictly be office work. My business is going to be dog walking, pet care in the owner's home, mostly based in Park City and Heber and Midway area. So no animals will be in my home, no clients will be at my home. It is merely to have a city business license. I already have a license with the state. So it's
Well,
just-
sounds like the perfect home business.
Yeah. So, just have a city license.
Have you been doing this for a while, just curious?
Nope, just getting this up and running.
Okay.
We have another business as well in Park City, but
Good.
yeah.
Any questions from council?
What's the location?
At the client's house, so no pets, no nothing will be
No,
coming.
but within our town, what location within our town?
The office.
Stormhaven?
House.
Yeah, Stormhaven.
Oh, you're in Stonehaven, okay.
Mhm.
Motion to approve.
There we go. We have a motion to approve. Do you have a second?
I second it.
First and second, any discussion?
Do you have any business cards?
Not yet, they're in the mail.
I think this guy. All in favor?
I have a website.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great.
Thank you.
Is there a chance you take care of grandkids along the?
Yeah, put them on the leash. Yeah, that's a good business plan.
Yeah, so, Mary, we need to schedule a hearing.
I got it.
Okay.
And this would be for Grady Enterprises.
No. No, go.
And I think you told us what it's for. It's just, again,
I'm in the mining industry, and I do have one employee, an assistant, that comes on a daily basis, and we she does clerical work. She processes purchase orders, invoices for my customers. I don't keep any inventory, castings, pressure liners, or anything on the property, and so it's just office work.
Sounds like a lot of traffic coming
Yeah, here's, yeah.
all those late night lattes.
Yeah,
Motion to approve.
yes.
We have a motion to approve. Do you have a second?
in. Second.
Motion and a second. In discussion?
Who made the first motion? Sorry.
If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anything else on the business side? Excuse me. Item number 5, possible approval of livestock grazing guideline noxious weed plan. We have an ordinance here. Maybe Eric, you can take a minute since you've always kind of worked with the weed and just explain this a little bit, not only the resolution, and we'll see how that works for everyone.
Yeah, I can do that. John, do you want to?
Which,
I think John actually.
Oh, John, I'm sorry. Are you dealing with the weed control board?
Yeah, I've done some stuff with it. I don't have anything to talk about on this guideline of noxious weed plan.
Okay.
What they're doing is they're looking at adding livestock management as a tool for weed control, adding it to all the weed plans within the Wasatch County area.
So if someone puts their plan, whatever, they can do their goats, and their goats.
Right, you can, that'll be, right now, it's not one of the tools you can use according to the weed plan. So grazing will be added to the weed plan. So if somebody wants to use that as their grazing tool,
Right.
I don't think that happens anyway, but now it's actually able to be put in there. So to be consistent with the county, they just wanted us to do this ordinance. And so you'll notice on the top line that it's just for weed control, it doesn't say noxious weed, so it's for all weeds. They wanted that to be open for all weeds in the municipality, so.
Okay. And then there's something, yeah, the signature page down there. I'll read the resolution. And the number would be DR-2018-10-1A, October 1st, 2018, effective date, October 1st, 2018. Show title, resolution to adopt a prescriptive livestock grazing guidelines as part of a noxious weed mitigation plan. Purpose, controlling exotic noxious weeds within Danieltown, establishing a livestock grazing guideline as part of noxious weed control plan in all areas of Danieltown. Whereas the Danieltown Council as the duty elected governing body of the town of Daniel in our capacity and duty to care for the public safety and health of the constituents, does hereby adopt the attached livestock grazing guideline as part of the noxious weed control plan affecting all property within the town of Daniel boundaries. Utah State, Title 14, Chapter 17, Rule R 16-1. Chair will entertain a motion. Adopt.
so moved.
We have a first.
Second it.
We have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Ordinance. I think they're all ordinances tonight. I think it's
Somewhere.
this one says ordinance right here.
There you go.
Which will be our next one.
Okay.
It'll be our possible land use plan. Maybe you could speak just a minute on that plan and the history of it, maybe over the last 10 years, Eric.
Okay, original adoption was in 2009. We've had conversations ongoing with the town attorney and with regards to making some of these things current, with the more current timetable on it. And we've actually had some of the public mention that this is 2009, maybe we should relook at that. So the law requires that we look at that every 5 years. And so we did do that. We never changed the date on the last go around, so it still says 2009. But we're at that point again, and so the Planning Commission, we held a couple of meetings on it. The last meeting, you'll have a letter in your packet for a recommendation of adoption without changes. So what it basically does is with no revisions, we're able to just go right back through on the land use plan, which is it's not a standalone document, that works with the general plan. So it's both of them together. We will be putting together, attached to this land use plan, a map that will show some of those corridors that's talked about in the land use plan, where we talk about the corridor being commercial, so we're gonna put together what Ryan calls it a funny map, the funnies. Because there's really, it's not what it is, but it's what it could be, based on our land use plan. If all the criteria matches up, the timing, the everything else that requires. Our attorney thought that a map would be more defensible when these applications come in, so.
And a little future looking down the road of what may or may not happen, but trying to do that. And there may be some coloring on a map that someone doesn't like, which happened on the last map, but at least it's kind of a direction on where the town's going, so some people, or a lot of people are surprised. Maybe that's the point.
Yeah. So, is that enough?
Yes.
Okay.
Any questions? If not, I'll read the ordinance here, the Town of Daniel Municipal Ordinance.
Thank you.
Number DO 2018-10-1B, effective date October 1st, 2018, short title Daniel Land Use Plan 2018. Purpose is to update the land use plan for the Town of Daniel. Resolution, whereas the Planning Commission has recommended the existing plan remain without any changes. The Daniel Town Council does hereby approve the existing land use plan as the official land use plan to be as a general guideline for the location, distribution, and character of future land uses within the municipal boundaries of the Town of Daniel. Shall I entertain a motion?
So moved.
Go first.
Approve.
Motion to approve. Second?
I second it.
And first and a second, any discussion? If none, all in favor?
Aye.
Ordinance is approved. Okay, the general plan. This would be a municipal ordinance for the general plan. A little synopsis, maybe Eric, with regard, it's kind of the same would be, as looked at several times to the planning commission. Not a lot of things were changed or noted, maybe correct me if I'm wrong on any of that.
No,
Similar to what we just went through, no changes, so this would be what, the third time it's been looked at?
yeah.
First, and then
Last time there was a change from, we changed morals. That was changed to morale. So they didn't think the town should be telling people what their morals should be in the last reading, so.
We're supposed to have good morale. There we go,
Morale.
excellent.
Okay. So the legal term is no revisions.
Next to the correct.
The morale next to the
All right.
I will read this next ordinance, which would be number DO 2018-10-1C. Effective date would be October 1st, 2018. Short title, General Plan 2018. The purpose, to update the general plan, updated in 2006. Resolution, whereas each municipality is required by the UCA 10-9A-401 to prepare and adopt a comprehensive long-range general plan for present and future needs of the municipality, and grow and develop of all or any part of the land within the municipality. And whereas the Daniel Planning Commission recommended that the existing plan remain without any changes. The Daniel Town Council does hereby approve to adopt the existing general plan. Shall I need a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
second.
We have a first and a second, and any discussion? If none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance passes, DO 2018-10-1. And that was June. Okay, at the time, Eric, we're at item number 8, would be possible approval of Highway 40 property zoning.
Okay, so you have a recommendation in your packet from planning. On this, we've had the public hearing. This has come along for a while. We finally have to a point where we can move forward with the recommendation from planning to change the zoning, the Highway 40 property to commercial from RA5.
And so the recommendation from planning is to make that change.
Correct. Is that right? Did I vote for that?
Got it here in waste of hour.
So, as a council right now, we have a recommendation from planning for the sale of the property. Any comments from the public? Okay, any comments?
So this possible approval Highway 40 properties,
This is Mark McAllister,
so is there a couple there?
not an application.
What's the name of the business?
So Highway 40 properties, rezoning could be Highway 40 property?
Property.
Is that a typo?
Not property, property.
Properties is the name, correct?
Oh.
It's the name of it, his properties, but there is
Yeah.
no property.
Oh, that's the
That's the
name
name of it, of the business.
of the business is Highway 40?
Right.
Oh, okay.
But it's singular property.
I'm misreading it. I thought it
I thought of it
was
twice.
land on Highway 40 that we were talking about.
It's all the rest of the property on Highway 40.
Well, that's,
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
wow, this is going smooth.
Well, then, going back or not, wow.
We wore everybody out.
Yeah, you know, really down to that this has been out there for a while. We've had a lot of discussion on all sorts of things. We do have a recommendation to approve the property. It does have commercial use currently. There's no discussion from the public. Do we have any from the council? If not, the chair will take it. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve?
Gary's doing it.
Oh, sorry, Gary?
So it's adjacent to whose property is this adjacent to? Is this adjacent to that?
This is a Quonset hut.
Yeah.
It's the Quonset.
The Quonset hut, yeah.
It's
So there's no
adjacent to,
physical tie between that and Rob Armstrong?
Right.
Yes. All right.
It's next door to the Quonset hut.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that it's, okay.
Oh, yes.
In relation to the Quonset hut. That's where it is.
So we did have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. Any last discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I'll read, we have an ordinance to substantiate and support that. That ordinance would be BO-2018-10-01A. Effective date would be October 1st, 2018. Short title, rezone of property at 2850 South, Highway 40. Is that the correct address? Daniel, Utah, from RA5 to commercial. The purpose, ordinance to change the zoning of property at the address listed above, also known as parcel number 00-0020-4478, currently assessed as approximately 3 acres. Ordinance, whereas the Daniel Town Council voted at the October 1st, 2018 meeting to make the zoning change proper, notice having been given for a public hearing held on the matter on April 19th, 2017, and the town council with the planning commission having heard the public's comments regarding the zone change, be it ordained by the Daniel Town Council of Daniel, Utah, that the zoning of the above described property will be changed to a commercial designation. After adoption and publication of this ordinance, the Daniel Town zoning map will be amended to reflect this change. Shall I entertain a motion to accept the ordinance?
I make a motion to accept this ordinance.
We have a first, we have a second? We have a first and a second, any discussion? None, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ordinance approved. Okay, our next item is really just a motion by the council to engage, I believe, Gilbert and Stewart to perform an audit for the 2017-18 year.
so moved.
We have a motion, we have a second?
You second it?
We have a second, any discussion on the audit? The only comment I'd make is that I believe this year will still be that 3,500, and then with this new grant, we're gonna pop up to about 55, I think, on the next year's funding.
Oh,
But I'm not sure, depending on what those figures may be.
and when that money comes in, huh?
That money comes in. So we, do we have a first and second with that? We did have discussion, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Mayor, if you'll, I know you have already been willing to get that and have that letter, and then we'll have that presented to council. Both the letter, well, I'll sign the letter, and then I think you present it sometime in January. Okay.
don't we usually get that back, an approved amount?
I'll get that back before I sign the letter, so I'll bring that here and just make sure that whatever fees or whatever, we're all, yeah.
It seems like he had that letter open. so we-
I would hope to have that next council meeting. Planning Department report violations and enforcement. Eric?
Motion to move on.
Yeah, we never had them, I was gonna say, okay, great, we'll do it next month. There's always-
Okay.
There's always one. You always get a mulligan.
Okay. You don't want my notes.
Get it back up there for me.
Anybody else want a planning report?
Sure.
Planning report?
You got it?
Come on.
That's right. Yeah.
Hopefully I'm aware of everything on there. Eric might have got one or two things in he didn't ask.
Okay, so as you're reviewing that, as you're looking over that, I'll hand out this other item here that you'll probably need to be aware of, because it's gonna come up. It actually is in the planning report, so this is the state law regarding boundary adjustments. That's just a state law regarding boundary adjustments. You know this, Eric? You don't care? You lucky girl. Wish I could say that. Okay, so as you're looking at that, any questions for me? Perfect. Oh, any public, any questions from the council? Let me rephrase that.
The lot in Storm Haven requesting services, what's that about?
Oh, what did you say, Kim?
The lot in Storm Haven requesting services, it's under.
So we have people that are looking at those properties in Storm Haven. They're requesting what those property services are on site. They're being told that there's certain services from the real estate agents. And so then they call to confirm, is there, because they're not, people are saying there is a moratorium, there's not a moratorium.
So I was just gonna ask, so that was on, but it's off,
What?
the moratorium. That new hookup.
No, you need to restate that.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. So we had it for 6 months, I think, or some, with that?
I thought it was a year.
It could have been.
It better have been 6 months. That's all the law allows us.
Well, there was two parts to that. There was existing lots that historically had connections that
Uh-huh.
might tear down and rebuild, and then there was new connections that had never had one. And I don't remember where we landed, but we drew a distinction between, lots that had connections and then just tore their house down, and lots that, new connections that had never been connected before.
My understanding is new. I mean, there was at least, I think, 2, possibly 3 that had that, but the other ones that may not have it, my understanding was the moratorium was for them when it was active.
I don't think it was a moratorium, didn't we say they could buy in?
I think they only had an option of a
I
well.
thought we did the moratorium at
There was
one point,
moratorium.
but it's expired and
I thought we had an open-ended window for somebody that wanted to buy in that it would help.
But
us
how
put
did
in,
they buy in from water volume into that one?
As in, enough money to help us build the tank and improve the
Oh,
system enough to
yes.
have more hookups.
We did have that discussion as well.
yeah, I think we had that discussion. I don't remember that passing, but I could be wrong. I don't remember a lot of things.
Yeah, I thought we left
Yeah,
that
I don't
open.
think that passed because the bottom line was is the ability to supply water and at the risk of taking
Taps
from
as
the
it is.
customers already there.
Right, but that's why we left it open. I thought if we had somebody that was willing to put in enough money to make that a secure system.
I guess that was the only caveat, probably, yeah.
Yes.
If someone did that, they could do it, but the other folks who couldn't do that, really couldn't.
It's an option.
Yeah. We couldn't service more, my understanding, we
We'll
couldn't
take
service
it.
more water than we're already doing.
I think there's 3 lots up there. Mike, well, I'd say it'd be an example, but you have a lot owner up there that's not current on their payments for sewer and water. So if that property was to sell, you would like to see that become current so that you could transfer the sewer and water to the new owner, correct?
You'd think.
So there are some delinquent lots, vacant lots up there that we need to pay attention to.
So that's what we have as inquiries. Everybody's looking at, there's a lot of, well, there must be a few properties up there because we get a lot of calls.
I think there's 3 properties that have service connections for water that aren't being used.
Well, and the simple answer is there's no new sewer connections.
Definitely not.
So, I mean, that, a lot of them don't want to hear about it after that, so.
Well, the 3 existing lots do have sewer connections if they would bring their balances current.
Right, that's why we
It's
say
already
there's
hooked up,
no
is what you're
new,
saying.
that's why we say there's no new connections, no new sewer
The other
connections.
ones, are they,
So they have to do their own due diligence, if it has one.
would they be able to have a septic tank or no?
Well, there's several options available. I think Ryan's touched on that before, that they can build, there are systems they can do on the lot, that's small.
There are some lots that could probably do that. There are other lots that I think it would be extremely difficult. It would be, they'd have to get it approved through the health department on a lot-by-lot basis.
And how does the creek play into that, Ryan?
It creates a substantial barrier. They've got to be a certain distance away from that, which makes a large portion of those lots not accessible. So that's where I say it's too customized a question to answer it with a simple yes or no. It could happen, but it would be very difficult.
So, but we know those lots that would be difficult,
All of them.
all of them. So is that the answer that's given to the prospective buyers?
No, the answer is given, no new sewer connections are being allowed.
Okay, and if they ask for other alternatives, we send them to the county health department, and they can evaluate that lot with all of the rules and look at their lot on their basis without our.
We just can't hook anybody else into that sewer system.
No.
We just can't, so.
Understand that.
Options out, so.
And then, Eric, as a clarification to the council, I think the moratorium had to do with the culinary water. And then I think the other discussion that had to do with letting them connect to the sewer to improve it, I think they were 2 different issues, it seems like to me.
I don't think the sewer was an issue of improving.
Yeah, because we can't, I mean,
We
it's
just can't connect anybody to that.
because
It's an illegal system.
it's that legal non-conforming, we can't make it bigger, we can't expand
we
the
can't
non-conforming
make it
use. But I think we had the discussion, there were 2 ways to go at the moratorium. One was to issue a 6-month moratorium, the other was to make it the impact fee $1 million, and if somebody came in with $1 million, suddenly we'd have the ability to build a well in a tank. And I'm exaggerating the $1 million, but, you know, I think that was, the other thought was if somebody came in and said, here's $2 million, can I connect? You would say, sure, we'll get a new well and tank up right away.
We'll make the pump house after you.
So then you can find or not find very easily if that moratorium was on or not.
Do you have any idea roughly when?
The moratorium probably would have been,
It's been the 2nd year we take it over.
I was gonna say second
Year we
year.
take it over.
How long we had?
Huh?
How long we
It's
had?
been 5 years, I think.
I think 2.5, 4 years.
I don't know.
It may have expired, the moratorium.
I bet you did.
It seems more recent to me than that.
Like
I thought
last
so,
year
too.
sometime, early last year.
Because it was after Ryan, you did your analysis.
Yeah. But that was, I mean, I did that at GDA, but that's been 2 years
Oh,
now.
well,
Okay.
probably still
So
expired.
I'm gonna say it's 12 to 18 months ago.
Okay.
I think that timeframe.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So, in the complaint here, the lots in Storm Haven, the correcting service, what lots are that? Is that just lots that have already been established, that already have the hookups that we're talking about, that are up for sale?
We have
Or is
both.
this-
We have both calling all the time. They have a bunch of lots for sale. The ones between, as you go down on the left-hand side, there's never been anything there, there's trees. But it's a lot. And so it sits right between Greg, I forget his last name. But this just, I mean, you would never know there's a lot there, but now there's a for sale sign on it.
And the ones I've heard of from realtors is those that are already existing.
We've also gotten, there's 2 or 3 people that have looked at that 6-acre parcel
Oh, yeah.
and asked how many homes they can put on that.
Up all on the corner.
Yeah,
Didn't we determine that's not part of the,
it's not part of the subdivision.
right?
You talking off of 40?
Tim's piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think,
So is that one lot then?
pretty much, I think we've made that one. I don't know that we've made that determination. Our preliminary investigation shows that not part of the subdivision.
Well, what happened there when we took over Storm Haven is he got sold a culinary hydrant. There was a hydrant in the field, but the hydrant was used to bleed off pressure and stuff. And there was a discussion that went on, did he have one or he didn't? So I went to the horse's mouth, which was Susie, and he had never ever purchased one. So they sold him one at the price that she had, the last one that she had sold. And so that's why that wound up with culinary hydrant and no sewer connection. Just want to make you aware of that.
Well, in the future, that's what'll happen too. Once the water's all brought up to speed, it'll still have no sewer connection, but it'll have water, so that's nothing new about
But if
it.
somebody comes back and says, well, you sold them a culinary hookup, then why did you limit them as not have availability for sewer?
That's
I
an
mean,
easy
that's a
one.
big argument.
It's easy to answer. It's a
Okay.
new legal system, we can't add nothing to
But
it.
that's the only one I'm aware of that's been sold to Storm Haven since town took it over.
But that also is an easy argument, because there's 54 culinary connections and only 19 sewer connections. So we have a lot of people with water service that don't have sewer.
There you go.
And the question hasn't been, does that lot have one connection? It's how many lots can they turn that 6-acre parcel into? So my answer is it's zoned RA5, which is 5 acres, 5-acre lots, and it's currently 6 acres.
Yeah.
And then I let them do the
Green
math.
belt.
Email. No kidding. You want us down to John? John, if you want to, as part of the planning report, that was from the weed meeting. Want to report on that?
Do I want to report on?
Yeah, just read it.
No, I don't know what it is.
You don't?
No.
You can't read my writing?
Well, you wrote it, so you ought to.
All right, okay, I'll read it. The weed report came out. In Wasatch County, there was 12,031 acres treated by the herbicide they give out. There was 475 gallons of 2,4-D herbicide given out and 50 gallons of Milestone. The ISM grant that allows it, that's called the Landowner Project, that grant that we got last year was for $24,190. So if people report back what they have, it's called an allow in-kind cost sharing. That's where you get the grant from. So if you guys have treated any ground, you need to get a hold of the county and let them know. They have prices of what the truck rate is, what the person rate is. Person rate is $22 an hour. So that gives you more money for a grant next year.
So we always have, what was the other company?
Milestone.
What's that for?
Milestone is an alternative that they're using on, it's really effective on thistle that's growing a immunity to glyphosate. So you're trying to bounce back and forth between Milestone and that, and it really knocks them down. Pretty good outfit, a little strong.
And the regular folks use that?
Yeah, it's non-restricted. They wouldn't give you anything down there.
So you're saying that we should be even above getting the 3 gallon of the herbicide from the county? If we've done more, we should report that as
Yes,
well?
report that,
And
and,
the hours?
yes, yep, hours and all that, all that does is brings that grant to a higher level.
Okay.
That's
And
just
so-
down the office.
Down at the weed office, yep.
Which just helps us all.
It helps everybody, helps countywide, even if you're not spraying weeds all the time and you did it one year, you put that in, that just helps that ISM grant. They track that, Ed Maps, they got a grant for Ed Maps this year. It's gonna be a little touchy. The Ed Maps is, they want you to do verification, they're trying to tie in the ISM grant to the EdMap, so they want verification that it was done in this area, so they want pictures and at certain angles, and so they've started that down there. They did get a grant for that at the county. I can tell you how much that is, but it was quite a bit of money though. The EdMap grant was $4,874. So they'll gradually move this ISM grant into that, so all the spraying will have to be verified. So they'll take a picture before, after it's done, and then the following year to make sure that what they're getting their bang for their buck. But anyway, that was just something. Any other questions on the report, or any questions? Everybody happy?
So a couple of things, along with the weed thing, it seems like
The what?
with the weed,
Oh,
they have these weed meetings typically on a Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
second Wednesday.
And Eric's kind of bringing out that, wanted me to read his notes for some reason. And I can't make that meeting, and so maybe we need to have someone that can make that meeting. You know, kind of be, I don't know, volunteer to do that or whatever.
I mean, you go, but there's other people that could go, so you didn't have to go kind of thing, or?
Well, I don't know. I thought John took this as an assignment, so that's why I was just giving him these. I knew he wasn't there. I wasn't trying to call you out. I was just letting you report on your assignment.
Well, and I have mentioned that, they've had the meetings at 1 for years, and no one else has stepped up to do it, so
I can sum that up in one thing, John.
maybe we need
It's hard to work for a living with guys that don't have to.
I'm not sure what that means, but.
Everybody
We all
else
have
made
work
it
for a
1
living,
o'clock.
the other guys that make it at 1 o'clock.
We have to work for a living. It's hard.
So it's just, and that was back when we were trying to get information about what weeds were on the list or not on the list, and if we were gonna get chemical and all that stuff. And I kinda did it as a one-time effort, was my understanding, not to be on this continual 1 o'clock meeting Wednesday thing. So maybe we need to have someone else do that.
A lot of times that's canceled, but a lot of times it doesn't, and that's, what's his name that always sends those, Rusty, right? That sends those letters out.
Yeah, Rusty Sweat, Rusty.
And it's every week?
It's every second Wednesday, 1 o'clock.
Just once a month.
Even in the wintertime?
Yes. They have a dinner in December if you're on that committee, and I'm not on the committee, I'm just,
But we don't spray in the wintertime.
no, but that's when you're doing all your grant and all your funding, all your plans for the next year. They'll put in applications for, a lot of this had to deal with getting the stream corridor protected, so that's when all the planning happens. Because you gotta, if you're bringing in a helicopter like they did 2 years ago, you're not making that call in the spring, that's way early. so.
You're talking about spraying as in a...
Yeah, they brought helicopters,
Oh, really? Oh.
yeah, we did over to Dutch Hollow, sprayed over there. Yeah, they've done that a couple of times, so that kind of stuff is all the planning they do all winter.
So they still meet through the winter then?
Yeah. I think every time but December they have a dinner that they go to, and they give out awards to the weed worker of the year, and just in county.
Put his name in.
That works. I don't want a trophy. What they give you, probably Mountain Dew. That's good enough.
Well, that is a hard time to get to for sure, and,
This is not uncommon though, I mean, we have a ton of meetings that they do. Those guys all get paid to do that, so that's what they do for a living.
Good meetings.
Right, and so, I mean, that's not uncommon when you have,
that's kind of your job almost.
yeah,
They do send out meeting minutes. I've received meeting minutes, but you don't have any input.
right.
Maybe just for next month, just not to forget about it, we probably ought to think about maybe to now and then somebody that might want to be able to do it, and maybe nobody can or something, but maybe just an agenda item to touch base on, reminding of it.
And where is it at, with the county?
Yes, downstairs,
The building or down the road?
Down.
from us? With, where we get the chemical?
What's that? Where you license your car?
Oh, yeah.
Right around the corner,
Got
on
it.
right. Oh, what?
So introduce,
You still going through it? Okay.
or are we still going through it?
Yeah,
Yes.
How long do the meetings last?
what's that?
How long do the meetings last?
They're about an hour.
From the meeting minutes I've had, they're not very long. But maybe that's because my minutes are, not.
Well, I do a lot of weekends.
That's where that, thing we just passed tonight has been brought up, and they've worked on it in the
Right.
last three or four meetings.
The grazing ordinance?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that's where all that is brought up. And if like, I don't know if you know the frog lady, Paula, maybe you know her, they call her the frog lady. Anyway, her name's Paula. She does, well, they all get together and go do these co-op. So they take everybody's man hours and just pound someplace, and then they'll go, and that's where all that is. So she was doing them over on the trails over around Jordan Hill, on the 17th of October.
So she-
All the rabbit brush and things that are deep wooded are late bloomers, they're susceptible right now to spray, so.
Does she collect frogs?
No, she will stand out in the pond and pull the weeds because she just doesn't want to get that around the spotted frog, that's how she got the name, the frog lady.
Oh.
She doesn't mind, they call me the frog lady.
Yeah, but they haven't seen no spotted frogs for 20 years now.
Ton of them this year. They're
There
everywhere.
is?
Really?
Ton of them,
Well, hey,
everywhere out there, yep.
Wow.
Welcome back.
Yeah, they're only big as your thumbnail, but.
Oh,
really?
Little bitty ones.
Hey, you go out there by Jordan Hill and turn off your truck, they're just a going off.
Oh, swell.
So,
they used to bring that guy in from the federal government. His report always said, they say they're here, but we've never found them.
Yeah, there's a ton of them this year, they're everywhere.
They're under your feet.
If you go with Paula, she'll show you where they're at, she knows.
You gotta go one at night with, all dressed up in a ninja outfit, that's the only way you're gonna find them.
But then I guess I won't know.
Careful
Gotta
where
be
you
sneaking
step.
up on them.
Ribbit.
Careful where you step.
Okay, any other, I guess I do need the councils on the Scott Kohler permit.
So you're having some difficulty maybe?
Yeah, TO has called them, their permit is a year old, it's expired. We don't have, he has not called, he's not current on his inspections. And
That's just the.
hostile
the-
towards renewing his.
so how do we know he's not current on his inspections? Just by driving by and looking?
Just driving by and looking and then comparing that to the inspections that have been done, filed and the ones that haven't been done.
The last one he has is what?
We-
Okay for four-way, to work towards four-way.
Yeah, and it looks like it's further along, it may not be, it looks like it's further along. Obviously, we haven't gone in without the permission. We called and mentioned that it's coming up on the year and the permit's gonna expire, where are you at? And received a less than warm answer about not appreciating the phone call. So,
Wow.
Well, he can extend this for a year without much effort, right?
yes,
Yeah.
Does he know that?
don't think we got that far in the conversation because he didn't want to chat with us, so no, I don't think we informed him of that.
Or maybe he does and he thinks that just automatically happens or something, I don't know.
I don't know, it was a very brief conversation. It was between Amelia and him, I wasn't part of the conversation, so this is third hand.
Okay. So the plan to move forward with this is,
That's what I'm asking you, what do you want me to do?
I just call him and talk to him.
Okay, you can do that.
But if the call goes south, then what would we want
Sure.
to happen after that if it went south?
Maybe we just write a letter of information. Okay, maybe that would be easier. Just say, hey, you can apply for a year, no cost extension type of thing. You just
Shouldn't
need
be a
to
big
do
deal.
it. Yeah.
I mean, we got electrical, the roof's in, the cans are set, we're way beyond. Our inspector probably has every right to show up there and tell him to tear the roof out so we can inspect the electrical. He's gone way beyond the scope of what he should have been to. You still want me to call him?
No.
Scratch the call, Jones says, okay.
Is there a direction the council would want Eric to go at this point?
What do you think about a letter just saying, hey, we know, you know, it's obvious you've gone past where some inspections need to do, or you can extend this thing for a year, but we need to get you caught up on extension or inspections?
Or invite him in and say, you know, if he comes in, if he doesn't come in or comes in, we talk about what's going on in the lot.
Alternative is,
If they, you know, don't come in and talk, this is what other choice we have type thing, I don't know. I mean, I know you've given the second, third chances already.
Oh, there's a history here of second and third, fourth chances?
Well, it's just he tried to do it without a permit. And tried to put in a wall, remember, and then we said, when is it not a deck, and when you enclose it?
wow.
What are you guys doing, 2-week conversation?
So by putting the wall in, does that make it a non-conforming deck? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
That's
what I
an
was-
addition.
Huh?
Well, and then, and not only that, but then you start adding electrical. I don't know if there's plumbing, we don't know, we don't know what's in there, so.
The plans he submitted had electrical but not plumbing. The problem with the wall on a roof, so it's got a full truss roof and then it has one wall, so
The
it's.
fact of the matter is, he's
Not
a
really
general
well.
contractor, he knows better.
Yes.
He knows better.
Amen.
Wow.
So, he's just pulling the wool over the eyes of Daniel Town. His conversation with me is,
So he'd like to.
the
he'd like
town
to-
will have to do what the town has to do. But he doesn't like what the town does, how it has to do, so. Yeah, he would like to.
So the wall,
And did he say that?
the wall's not the
Yeah,
only
that's-
problem.
That's what he told me in the first conversation, I said, well, you need a permit if you're gonna put a wall in it.
Well, it's the roof
Then
and
I think it's
as
down
well,
under the town.
and then the electrical.
It's engineered, I mean, he got the engineering, he engineered the roof, he engineered the deck, engineered everything.
But some-
So it wasn't that hard to get the permit, everything was engineered, but.
So he paid for the permit, and so his inspections have been paid for essentially. He just has to have someone come and do it.
Correct.
So I don't understand the difficulty there unless it was
Yeah.
done.
So we need to do the inspections, so obviously, you know, the inspections have been paid for, we need to finish those, and then if the permit expires, we need to extend it,
Yeah.
unless he's done,
And that's through application.
which can be done through application at no additional cost, and we've extended those, I don't think we've ever not extended one that was asked, have we? I can't think of
No,
one.
well, it's up to us if we extend it, it's for good cause, so, but we have never not extended.
Well, I know, but I can't think of one case where we said, no, you can't have an extension, as long as,
Yeah.
But there is a process.
So when did he expire?
September 18th. So the call went out prior to that expiration, coming up on that expiration.
So a letter stating something like, we've been informed that your permit is expired, we wonder if you'd like to extend it so we can complete the inspections on your addition. That thing.
That's a great way to word it.
I mean, instead of not being negative, I mean, even though it's reciprocated back the other way, but like, we're willing to help, we just need to follow our guidelines.
Yeah, well, if you won't talk to him on the phone, I don't know how to give him the guidelines, so.
I think a letter that just says, hey, we've noticed that your building permit is out of date. We'd like to get you caught up on your inspections. And here's an easy way to extend your building permit.
And request a response.
Yeah, and request a response.
Timeline, a date, you
Right.
don't respond by a certain time,
Well, that is red flag, right?
your building permit is expired, you can't proceed any further.
And then it switches gears.
Is he at the point where he's not building anymore and he doesn't care if he gets red flag because
Probably.
it's done?
Probably. I think he's just at that point.
Where he's done, isn't he? Yeah.
Maybe to him, but there's still a lot to do still.
But it looks like he's doing other stuff to his house that he might want a building permit for later, so.
If he's done, all we would need to do is go inspect, right?
Well, yeah, but, I mean, you're asking an inspector to put his name on something he can't see.
Oh, yeah. He's got to
That's a
do.
problem.
Doesn't that have an attic
No.
So you have to tear the plank off?
Yeah, he's got tongue and groove on the roof.
Oh,
it's a, well, it depends, I mean, have the inspector come out every,
That's why I say,
A
it's
lot
up
of
to our
times there's a lot
inspector,
of
he's the
things
one
they can
putting his
do.
name on it. That's what we had to do with the stone, wainscot. It was just finally just inspector, go tell him what you want to see, and that's where we left it, because it was just such a back and forth of the International Building Code regulation.
And wasn't the application X as in dollar amount, but then he went way over, so if he would have put on his application what it was, it would have been more?
No, I think the wainscot wasn't we added the wall.